Good morning. The Atom Project, the movie where the past meets the future. Time travel exists. You just don't know it yet. Before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button, grab your coffee, and let's dig in. After accidentally crash landing in 2022, time traveling fighter pilot Adam Reed teams up with his 12-year-old self on a mission to save the future. So, have you seen the Atom Project? Well, we did a poll, and I was a little surprised with the results. We asked, would you recommend the Atom Project to others? And these were the results. We had about 32% of you or so saying, yes, absolutely. Another 11% saying, not sure. A smidgen saying, no way. But most of you, a little more than 50% said,
what? What is
this? What is it? And that was a little surprising. So that means if it was an honest poll for those who took it, this movie is a bit of a sleeper, which I think is unfortunate because I think this was actually a pretty good one. And we'll get into that in a bit. But for those of you who have not seen it, we've got a little clip here that may give you a little bit of a taste for it. So maybe that'll give you a bit of a taste. I'd like to do more of that trailer, but I think there might be something about copyright strikes or something.
Yeah, they can be a pain.
So I'm not really maybe even going on a little bit of verging on thin ice to even show you what we did right there. But that was hopefully giving you an idea. And I don't know, that idea just kind of appealed to me. There is a lot of good stuff in here. We'll cover that in a minute. But we're going to make sure that this is spoiler free, and then we're going to switch into spoiler mode. So on the spoiler free side, would you say in terms of recommendations that this might have been a good one?
I'd say all in all, it was a pretty good one. I'd say there's still some things you need to keep your eyes out for. I mean, this is an action sci-fi film, so there's going to be some violence in it. It's going to have action in it. It's going to have, fortunately, Ryan Reeves?
Yeah, right. No, Reynolds.
Reynolds Reeves.
No. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Whatever the guy's name is.
Oh, come on. Deadpool guy.
Deadpool guy. Yes. With Deadpool in it, yes. You're going to have language.
Yes.
You're going to have lots of language.
Yes.
And
his character does come out in this. His character does show. So.
Yeah. You get the snarkiness. You get the great dialogue. Absolutely great dialogue in it. It's very enjoyable. But you do have the language. You do have that aspect of it. So this is definitely not for all viewers. I wouldn't recommend this for younger kids. But for the more mature side, I'd say it's definitely a good. And it's nice to see, because most of the sci-fi in this day and age is, well, garbage. So
well, there are some gems every once. This is one. This came out last year. It was Netflix. I tend to stay away from some of the stuff on Netflix, especially some of the stuff they've been showing. But this was a good one. I think this is worth watching. It's your choice whether you want to have your kids or not, warning about the language. And I would say that even though the younger Adam in here does have an attitude and some nastiness, there is real redemption that's in here that makes it all worthwhile. So you have the character arc going on. So on a movie filled with action, intrigue, tension, and sci-fi adventure, the question is, what are, if there are any, hidden Christian themes or moral lessons that you can get out of the story? Something that you can talk with people about and share and stuff like that and get for yourself. So I would say reconciliation on all levels.
Reconciliation's one. Parental need. I'd say the need for
there's a good family.
Parental people being involved in people's lives and the outcomes of the lack thereof.
Yeah,
is well done. I think that they pay, the nuclear family was a good thing in this one, which again, in this day and age is rare.
It's refreshing to see.
So it's a nice, refreshing breath of truth, isn't it?
Okay, so it had that on many levels, and we're talking reconciliation, which is the step beyond understanding and forgiveness. So it's more than just I forgive you, whatever. But then you have the relationship reestablished, and that's good to see too. So that's as far as we can go without giving any spoilers. Any farther than this, you enter on your own risk. This is spoiler territory. There are spoiler landmines everywhere after this point. So what we liked, I would say ship design on this sci-fi design, the really uniforms or the armor that these guys had. They have stealth suits. It's in my story, and they used it. But no, it's good stuff.
Stealth suits.
I know everybody used stealth suits with time travel because you don't want to ruin the past. So that was good, and the way that they died, just like they just like Thanos snapped all over the place.
Thanos snapped. Yes, this was before Thanos, but yes.
So it was. No, was it?
Yeah.
No, this is last year.
Oh yeah.
So
right, so they, if you died outside of your time, you just sort of evaporated.
Right. And we'll hit some of the.
And that was an interesting concept.
We'll hit some of the timey-wimey stuff and look at that a little bit closer here in a minute. But they did seem like they did, at least with the special effects and stuff like that, it was pretty good.
Well, it solved a lot of issues too. You didn't have to explain where all these dead bodies all of a sudden started appearing from. In the future.
Okay, I know another story that does talk about that as being an issue, but we won't go there. Okay, so but they did break the rule. If you travel back in time, don't talk to yourself, just like we saw in that clip. But I thought that was fun. I thought, so many people are like, don't do that. So they never do it. But this is a movie where they did do that.
Where they did do it on purpose.
And totally explore it.
Granted, they already knew that time was changed.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bumpkiss reason why they really did it, and that's a very weak.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, I'm holding off all the negative stuff. We'll do that in just a minute. But good family. Talked about that. The cohesive family that was together. Nice to be able to see that, right? And how would you like the Hulk as your father? That'd be pretty cool. Except when you do some of that. Don't make him angry. So there was good humor in there. I got a couple of quotes from you here. This is when Ellie Reed, who is the mom of both Adams, says, I don't think she's ready to go on a date. And the kid says, young Adam says, well, you're going on a date. And she says, I don't think it's a date. And he says, your dress thinks it's a date. And then this is just like just witty humor.
Snappy humor.
Yep. So the young Adam then is talking to his older self, and they're going back and forth. The younger Adam has all sorts of questions for the older Adam. When he's saying like, why do you do you do this with this? Does this happen? And the older Adam says, shut up, I can't tell you everything. And so the younger Adam says, it looks at him and says, when the older Adam does something stupid, he says, it's like I traded my brain for those muscles. 12-year-old kid, right? I love his boldness and everything that comes out. Sarcasm, witty sarcasm was another one. Mom, that was the back and forth in the philosophy that's in there too, which is good, which is I think is pretty deep. The mom talking to older Adam at the bar says, babies are pure love. They grow into teenagers who grow into assassins of happiness. And that one scene with the mom, though, that was great because
that was great.
Here he is, his older self, and he can talk to his younger mom, and it's just real. I think there was, I have to admit, I shared.
It sounded like to me, at least, that the mom might have passed away before.
Do they make that clear?
They never made it clear, but definitely sound like he had regrets that he was not able to say this to his mom.
Yeah.
But he's there in the bar. His mom does not know who he is. Mm-mm. And he just lays it out for her. Basically says, hey, your son doesn't hate you.
Your son
loves you.
Yeah. She needed to hear that too.
Yeah, she was desperate for it. And I'm glad they took the scene the way it did, because it definitely could have ended up very awkward.
What do you mean by awkward?
Well, she was looking for dates, and yeah.
No,
she was in a bar, and she was just looking at dates. And
are you telling your mother is infatuated with you?
We're going down this Marty McFly thing.
No,
then.
It was not that. Was not that.
Thankfully, it's not an enemy. So
I lost my mom when I was 16, and there was all sorts of things I would have liked her to have been a part of in my life, and being able to sit down and have a conversation. I don't know if I could do that, man. I think I'd just bust into tears just trying to talk to her about that. But and not say who you are. Mom, it's me.
Yeah.
You know, that would be tough. But he did pretty good. He held out. All right. So what didn't you like?
What did I like? There were a couple of I mean, seriously, we're just coming off of my mom died when I was 16. That was a major thing.
All right. Well, we're talking about the movie though, okay?
Yeah, but that was big.
Yeah, it was big. But what didn't you like about the movie? Because that happened a long time ago.
I'll keep going.
Yeah.
We won't go with the
very long time ago, not a fresh thing. Okay.
So things that I personally did not like, I think the whole reason why he needed to go get his younger self being that, well, the ship won't accept him if he's hurt because he got a bullet hole, he got shot, so now the ship won't take him in. It's like, wait, what? Yeah. So if you're going back in time and you have a risky mission and you get hurt during this risky mission, you're stuck in the past because your ship won't unlock.
That was a huge blunder.
It was like,
so
this is the best you got.
It was a plot device. Come on, guys, you can do better than that. We see the evidence for all the rest of the movie.
And I mean,
but hold on a second. Let me just say something about that. Then you had it wouldn't accept his DNA because he was injured. Your DNA doesn't change because you're injured.
Yeah,
and
your vitals do.
Right, but that's not your DNA.
It's not your DNA. And again, I understand why they did it, because they really wanted the younger him in it, and they wanted to get that play going. And of course, that is like, I can forgive a lot of things like that. Definitely when you've got the rest of it really ridiculous.
Okay, so if like his hand was burned, it'd be hard because he has a lot of martial arts fighting and stuff like that. But if his hand was burned or damaged, or I was kind of like lost a digit or something, you don't want to do that. But and then went by a fingerprint. You know, he couldn't. It just wouldn't go on. Or better yet, how many times have you tried using the fingerprint reader on your phones? It's like, this stuff's not working.
I never use them anymore.
Okay, well, it'd be something like that.
For obvious reasons.
It's not working. Maybe you'll use your, try your hand. Something like that I could see going on instead of just the injured part.
Maybe, again, this is supposed to be futuristic tech, so they definitely should have some backups. But at the same time, I mean, seriously, you're going to get locked in the past if you can't access it. Definitely if you're in a dire straits and you just got shot and you need to get your butt out of there, we're going to be changing time.
Right.
And your stupid time machine won't let you in.
Yeah, I think it's a design flaw.
That's a huge design flaw.
So another part too is here. This is towards the end. There were some issues in it, but for the most part, it was great. There's just some nitpicky things. So they have this hard drive. They need to take the info out, right?
Yes.
And it's in the middle of the court. Now, if I'm, from an engineering standpoint, if I'm designing a piece of equipment, first of all, I have backups for any kind of important
backups of offsite.
So backups. So I would have that, and it would be not in the center of a core. It'd be off to the side, right? Shielded, whatever. And if it's sensitive information, like this is the only place they have this information. What? Okay, so that was I couldn't suspend my belief on that one.
I do admit that was a big mistake. That one, because it was like, this is the only thing that lets them ever reproduce this thing, and it's like, they don't have 5,000 backups.
Yeah.
Their IT department is crap.
Yeah, you'd have it like really hard-coded, encrypted, but you wouldn't just have it right there in like, this is the spot, and all I have to do is just pull it out.
You'd have
a lot of bad things happen if I pull it out, but it's really easy accessible right here at the edge.
Yeah, because you would have it on. You would have servers. You'd probably have physical copy backups. Yep. You would have, definitely, if it's extremely valuable, you probably, even if you're paranoid about getting hacked or anything, someone stealing it, you would just have the physical copy version of it and even delete the digital copy. Just scrub the digital copy.
Okay. So. All right. We switched over into design mode. Like, we're actually designing this for these people. And I think we've hit the nail on that one. At the start of the reactor breach, at the end, there's all sorts of things that happen. And I think most people would have caught this, just like a lot of the other things that are here. It's a magnetic field that starts drawing things in, right? Yes. So anything that is not just metal, right? It has to be ferrous metal. So it has to have iron in it for it to really, or there's something equivalent to it. It has to be drawn in, pulled in, because it's just that, right? So number one, the bigger objects should go first. They're going to have the most magnetic draw in. I used to work with MRI machines. I remember standing in front of one. You're not supposed to have any metal on you at all when you go into the room. And I remember I had a flash drive or something right here hanging from around my neck, under my shirt, and I felt the pull as I got closer to this sucker. I mean, it's really cool. You can do all sorts of stuff like this. But the bigger it is, the stronger the pull is going to be right at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But more importantly, the bullets, right? And you can see this coming when she goes back and forth. It's talking about she's going in her monologue and everything. You know she's going to pull it, and her younger self is standing right there. And I'm thinking, nope, she's going to get it. And she did. The gun fires rounds that contain magnetic steel core. The weapon itself, with all its ammo, would have started tugging before
she would have had to have fought with it as well. I mean, that is where the shielding was the weakest, was of course where the individual would just happen to be standing. But even then, if you want to say that it had like a super heavy draw right there, you would still see that impact on the gun in some way, where she would have had to have been fighting with it.
Yeah. I think that's maybe what they're saying, that you just had a narrow corridor where the magnetic pull was.
Yeah, but there was no indication of that.
And that's not how magnetic flux works anyway. I don't know if you could really, I don't know if you can focus it down like that. That's interesting. I don't know if you can.
Yeah, because it's a field. It's not just
because the way that it goes out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that's like targeted.
Okay, so now handling time travel. Do you have anything else to add as far as because I don't want to nitpick on the movie too much. It was good.
It was a good movie. I mean, the very fact that we can just pull out these very specific situations, shows how good it is. Because I can't just look at the entire thing and say
it was a fun movie. It was enjoyable to watch, especially with the humor. And something about humor is when you have humor in a movie or in a book, you're able to forgive a lot of things. Yeah, I don't care. I know that stretches credibility, but I don't care. I'm going to go for it anyway.
Yeah, right? It had a very good balance of humor.
Yeah,
and a very good balance of humor.
Speaking of which, there was one line concerning time travel when the old Adam says to the younger woman, "It's a multiverse, man. You watch too many movies," and that's where we were talking about with the different types of timelines.
Yeah.
Is the kid is like, wait a minute, this is a multiverse. He says it's not a multiverse. You're too much into this.
And it's definitely the branching timelines that they were recommending, at least in the show.
Okay, so you have the original timeline here, right?
Yep.
You go back in time, you make a difference, and it branches off, right?
Yep. And then you come back to the future where you never left. In fact, that's one of the main things that happened in this that got his wife investigating it. Was that someone came to the future that never left.
Yeah, that was an interesting concept because they're already dealing with, you don't start with like the unaltered timeline. You're already starting like on a branch already because of what Saurian had done. She had come back and
you don't realize that originally.
No, you don't.
You don't.
And that was I think that's a bit of a twist because you do have the assumption you're on the original timeline.
Yeah, because normally you do. You start off with the original timeline and you're following the people who make the divergence, not the people who are already on that.
So which Back to the Future is this? Is this 1 or 2?
This would be 2.
2 because of the branching.
Okay. Because of the branching.
Yeah.
And jumping forward to this branch timeline.
Yeah, they weren't too consistent with that with Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3 with the different temporal mechanics on it. And they did make one last comment about this. Fixed time is where you belong.
Yes, you have your home time. And now there was a movie, I forget which one it was, that dealt with the same thing. I think it was actually a series where basically dealing with time cops that had a similar aspect of it.
We haven't even talked about Loki, about branching the TSA and everything like that in it. That had a lot to do with it too. Okay, Christian themes. That's what the point of this video is. We touched about it earlier. Is what are the hidden messages that a Christian could look out and pull out and say, this has eternal weight to it. This is something, or a great moral value in this story. I'll start with one because we did talk about the reconciliation. We'll dig into that a little bit deeper. But before we get into that, there was one statement that the older Adam made to the younger Adam after the younger Adam was getting beat up. He says, you don't go from you to me without getting a bunch of butt kicking. A lot. And what does that mean about bullying?
Well, there's a lot of aspects to that, not just bullying itself, but the overall just going through hardships. This really is sort of a view on the problem of pain.
Yeah.
How to deal with an even deeper aspect of it. Why does God let us go through hardships? Because you got the aspect
that's
from
huge.
The older Adam who's gone through all this stuff, who could just like that step in and just fix the situation.
Right.
But chooses not to.
Yeah. So at what point does pain and hardship actually form character? And although you do want to avoid it, when it does happen, there can be something positive come out. So that's a theme right there, and that's a huge amount.
That's a huge Christian theme right there, and really does address one of the major problems a lot of atheists have with the concept of God and Christianity.
Right. Because
this perfectly loving God lets you go through these hardships, and this was an example. Adam perfectly let this happen to his younger self, even going into the future a bit with this, the father saying, hey, don't tell me. I know I'm not going to be around for you guys. I know I'm going to die.
That was hard.
But don't tell me. We're not going to stop it. We're going to let it happen because you need it. And in order to become the man you need to be, this needs to happen. So
we got a real campaign against bullying. It's like bullying. It's like the worst thing that can happen to you in child. I was bullied when I was a kid. There were some stories, but and it's nasty. You don't want your kids going through it. I'm not talking about, forcibly looking for that, but to say it is like this huge, huge evil that, you know what? It's not going to kill you. It's going to make you stronger. It's like, pull up your pants, pull up your britches, get through it. You'll be fine. You'll learn how to deal with it. Don't go for it. Try to avoid it. These kids shouldn't be doing this to each other, but it's going to happen. Life sucks.
How to deal with it.
Yeah.
The lesson of how to deal with it also applies into the future, because even though you have bullies on the playground that might pick on you, life gets worse.
Yeah.
Life gets harder.
Right.
Bullies get bigger.
That's true.
And then your bully becomes your boss. And now how are you going to deal with that? Because you need a job and you got to deal with the bully in their job. And if you never learned how to deal with bullies when you were a kid, good luck now, boy.
That's a good point. So reconciliation, we have, is on several levels. And I had to admit that, again, that I did start to tear up on some of this stuff here, because I think it really did pull on the heartstrings. They did an excellent job with writing in this movie. They did some, not only the banter that was going back and forth, but some of the deeper meanings and some of the deeper relationship issues that were going on in here. They did a good job without getting too deep. I mean, they did it, and I think it was handled at a good level. The father to the older Adam. So the older Adam had built up resentment about his father. He the younger Adam said to the older Adam, he says, "You hate him because he died. It's easier to be angry than it is to be sad." I guess as we get older, we forget the difference. Man, that kid was smart.
Well, it's that, and there's the other aspect where you can see this real bitterness from the older Adam to the dad that the younger Adam didn't have.
Right.
In fact, to a point where the older Adam was rewriting some of his memories, and the younger Adam didn't have that. He was pointing out the pitchback little toy he had in the back, and he said, the older Adam said, "Yeah, he got that because he didn't want to go play baseball. He didn't want to play catch with me anymore." And the younger Adam's like, "No, I begged him for that, and he got it for me. And then whenever he would see me out there using it, he would stop no matter if he was dead tired from work, whatever it is, and he would come out there and play with me."
Resentment will do that. Resentment will take what was good memories and turn them bad. You only see the negative side to memories.
That's a real attack of the enemy. It really is, because it's taking what was once joy, what was once good, and corrupting it.
Yeah.
And even fond memories that you can look back at when you're older and be like, "Oh yeah, I remember doing this, with my dad, or with my, doing stuff with my son that I did with my dad," and be like, "Oh, look how cool this is that I get to do this," and corrupting that, decaying it to a point where it's not a point of joy, it's a point of sorrow.
Yeah. So it's like this. I have a penny here, and to say that this is the bad parts of my relationship with my parents, and I have it here and say, yeah, I acknowledge it, that there was some stuff there that wasn't good. Some of it was really bad. But if I get resentment such that it's all that I ever see, it blocks out whatever else was there, and before long that becomes all that you see. And that was what the problem here with this. And then his dad gives him this break the ribs hug at the end. And
it's really real good. There's that reconciliation between the dad and the older Adam, between the dad and son, and eventually also between the
we'll get to that here in a second. Everybody except for one person. And
everyone gets reconciliation. So everyone gets it.
So there was another good line where the older Adam, I believe, says to the father, he says, he doesn't need perfect, he needs you. And that's a lesson to every mother or father out there. You don't have to be perfect. Just be with your kid. Love your kid. So mother to younger Adam, who thought, that was another point of reconciliation. The younger Adam thought the mother didn't care about the dad's death, right? And so
she was just trying to hold it together for her son.
Yeah, she was trying to put up this big, like, everything's together, and the younger son looked at it and says, "Mom doesn't even care." And so the older Adam gave him insight onto that. That was another point of reconciliation. And then the husband to the wife, "I found you."
Yeah.
Getting together, that's striving for all these good relationships. And even himself, the older Adam to the younger self, he said, "I spent 30 years trying to get away from the me in you. And now I know that was the best part."
Yep. That's the best part of me, was what you are.
Who did not have reconciliation?
The main villain.
Maya Sorian. So what were we going to say about her?
Go ahead.
I was going to say that she was a good foil. So this is good writing. You have the character flaw in the protagonist is mirrored in the antagonist. And that character flaw becomes so bad, it makes moral changes. The main character starts treating other people badly because of this psychological flaw. The antagonist has the same flaw, but has treated it differently, where the main character finds redemption here at the end. The antagonist does not, because in this case, Maya held on to this resentment so much it consumed her. It was all over. It was everything that she saw. Right.
So the resentment, the fear of losing. Now, I think she was by far one of the most interesting characters actually in the story.
Really? I didn't think they had it very well developed. Why would you say that?
I find her interesting because of what she represented.
Okay.
More than anything else. She was a businesswoman to the extreme. She was focused on her career above everything else, above the sacrifice of family, every other aspect of her life.
So not all like the father.
This career.
Not like the father.
It's not family driven. She is anti-family. That's what we see a lot in this world, is an anti-family push.
She was a very successful female CEO. She was
very successful.
Had everything together.
And that's all she wanted. That's all she ever desired. That's all she was focused on. And she was willing to kill to keep it.
But you look at her younger self there at the end when the older one is going through the whole monologue and just the vitriol and the anger that she has in her face. The younger one's looking at her saying, I can't believe it. Is this what I turn out to be?
Yeah, an old bitter woman.
So at that point, the younger one still has possibility for redemption, but the older one is like taking that path. And
she's taken the path. She's drunk the Kool-Aid. She's solid into this, dedicated into this poisonous mindset that her business is all that matters. That is her legacy. And anything that gets in the way of that needs to be destroyed.
Right.
Because she has to have her legacy.
Right.
And that is the root of the entire thing, because in the original timeline, according to what happened, seemed to be, and again, this is just hinted to, not really shown, she loses the company to the government. The government steps in, takes the company. She ends up not even noted in history, just nothing.
That's sad. After giving up all that like that.
Yeah, that's her draw. It's like, I gave up everything for this, and they just took it away. And it's like, yeah, that's sad. That definitely is horrendous. But is that worth murdering, so many people over and changing time and space in order to get your way? I mean, this is an ultimate tantrum.
Yeah. It's an Ecclesiastes moment. Read the book of Ecclesiastes, where it all ends up being just vain. I mean, what you were grasping is just gone. It's not there. It's vapor. So I think that's a pretty good wrap up. I would, again, a recommendation for everybody. These are some of the ethical and moral truths that you can pull out of this, and maybe have a good conversation with somebody. If you like this material, please let us know, share and subscribe it. And if you want to see more, definitely subscribe so we can, you'll be notified of upcoming episodes and events. Speaking of upcoming episodes, we have tomorrow the top 3 reasons why Greek is a special language. We did Hebrew and that was really popular. So we thought, well, what the heck? We'll do Greek. See what goes from there. Why Greek and Hebrew? If you don't know, then tune in. And we'll see why tomorrow. Then Wednesday, the day after, The Naked Truth, Star Trek, Next Generation. And we'll basically take a look at it similarly to what we did on this, pull out some things that we can have as discussion points with people. And even though it's an older show, it still has impact on Sci-Fi Today. Some people might be watching some of the reruns on some of the streaming services. And, for anybody who's a Trekkie, this Next Generation was a pretty big series, a pretty important one, ran for years. So until then, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.